Felicitations, my family of fledglings. Welcome to Damien. Do people say that? What do people say when they're trying to say hello to my channel, but their channel's like their name? I should just watch some more people, more content creators, and figure that out. Welcome to Damien. It's probably not the thing most people say, well, unless your name's Damien, and then maybe that is exactly what you say. Hi. How are you? Oh, ghosts. Yeah, it's so good to unsee you as well. It is. No, it is. It is. I didn't forget. I was just, you know, having a weird intro. I like you. It's been a while. Been a few days. Took some time and got a lot done around the house. I should feel better about that. I just feel tired. And I got some work stuff done. Not that that matters to you all, but you know, the lights are staying lit in this household. There's a podcast with me in episode 3. Did you know about this? It's like fantasy sort of thing. It's called Wanted Swordsman for Hire. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, I cannot get this to focus unless it's like on my face. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can listen to this. Listen to the other episodes too. They're all good. It's great. It's a good show. I'd listen to it. I have. I acted in it. There's a thing down here for a new one of these. This one's was not made by Blood Moon Menagerie. One was made by Blood Moon Menagerie for me, and I lost it. Sucks. Really sucks. So I'm gonna commission another one. Yeah. Tonight's discourse, that's a thing that happens on this day of the week. We are doing a discourse, and tonight's discourse is, what rituals do you perform, do you undergo when feeling depressed? It's not related to anything specific to me per se. It's not a me thing. It's just a, I mean, have I ever felt depressed? Of course. Of course. So the question is to you, when the last time you have, I mean, maybe you're feeling it right now. Maybe you have sometime in the past. Close this, mute this tab. Okay. Last time you felt that way, what did you do? Or what do you usually do? Do you like to clean? Do you like to work out? Do you like to throw things? That's usually more like angry. Do you cry in the shower in fetal position? Do you take a nap? Just curious, what's your self? I don't even want to call it self-care. It's not necessarily self-care. Some people do self-care at that point in their lives. Some people do not. What do you do when you feel depressed? How does it come out? How does it manifest in your life? That's what we're going to be talking about. We're also going to be hopping into Enshrouded, just doing some building exploration. If people want to do some hunting and killing, we might look into that as well. I don't know. Depends on the needs of the folks that play on my server. So let's see who's on right now, shall we? Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Tonight's topic, by the way, in case you didn't hear, is rituals you perform when you're depressed.
Oh, wow. I know all about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, me too. Do you have any particular go-tos? Ice cream in the shower?
Well,
are you a cleaner? Do you like to clean things?
No, when I get really angry, like with my if I'm like angry enough, I can either choose violence or I can choose cleaning, and that's usually I end up choosing cleaning.
Oh, you're an angry cleaner.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. But as far as depression goes, I've had to change my ways since I got the news at my health news. So I can no longer just eat ice cream and gummy bears.
That used to be the go-to.
Ice cream, gummy bears, and fucking like while watching movies like Star Wars or something that I've seen a million times. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, that type of shit.
Yeah, like a comfort watch.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
you could practically lip sync along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Get in a familiar space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if it's really bad, like a Disney movie that I grew up on,
Oh.
like either Robin Hood or fucking Sword in the Stone.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen Sword in the Stone in a long time. I tried to
It's
get
been
the
a minute.
kiddos to watch it, but because it has a similar art style to Black Cauldron, and they're kind of hit and miss on that one now that they've seen it a couple times.
Yeah.
Like they've gotten past the trauma that I inflicted on them, but
It's a dark movie.
they're still like, yeah, I really like that movie. Okay, cool. Do you want to watch it again?
No.
Oh, no. I mean, I like it, but I don't like it. Oh, I just sent myself into the abyss. Raking is hard in this game.
It is. It really is. At least, it starts out that way. It gets better once you learn to be patient with it.
Well, my problem is I'm raking holes in the world or something. Because, jeez, really? Again? Because I'm sending myself back to spawn.
Oops.
In a rare twist, I almost always wait until usually like the half stream mark before I say anything about myself. But I'll go ahead and spit some truth on this one. My depression ritual for the longest time has been to take a nap. And I almost have like the opposite emotionality these days. I feel like of late it's almost like I'm going to say something like really weird, but it's almost like I'm anorexic for sleep right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like they say that people who get anorexia nervosa are missing some sort of control in their lives, but they can control that they will stop eating.
Oh my, wait. This makes so much sense.
Huh? Go ahead.
Because I get to the point where I actually at first I thought it was just I wasn't hungry.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm so starving. I just blame it on being lazy and not eating.
Yeah.
Just like skipping meals. But I feel like it makes sense that I would just choose not to eat because of depression.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe it is the only, one of the few things I can control, and I can control my sleeping habits or lack of sleeping habits.
Mm-hmm.
That it's the reason why I don't go to bed until 3 in the morning and I wake up at, 8, 7. Well, it's technically 7 to get started on work.
100%.
Hmm.
Lady Nico, hello. How are we doing? We're talking about rituals that you perform upon yourself for better or worse when you're feeling your most depressed. Sleep is yours. You like to do the sleep. Yes. I feel like
I like to do the opposite. I just like stay awake and rather just play games and watch like Star Trek and Chopped like in the wee hours. Like I'll like leave Discord and like just like cancel, like close it out so nobody can see what I'm doing. I'm just stay up and watch fucking TV and movies, and just it's my way of, I don't know, maybe it's my escape.
Yeah, I think everybody has that. Like what we need now, and I think what most people have learned how to do for themselves is, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go. You know, it's late, and I'm feeling really tired. And you say goodnight to everybody. You clock out from being present for everyone else,
Yeah.
and then you go and you turn on whatever you want to turn on, whether that's a game or a show or doom scrolling through some sort of social media, and you go and you do that until you're ready to actually sleep.
Yeah. It's just for me, unfortunate that it's I'm ready to sleep at like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah. Lady Nico says, or end up staying awake and just lose myself in a game. Sleep has been the go-to mostly, though. Yeah, for me, it was sleep when I was younger, and now it is... Actually, I don't know what I do ritualistically to feel depressed. Maybe my ritual is the killing of rituals to do when I'm depressed. Like I stopped doing all the things that bring me joy when I feel depressed, and now I just sit in the depression and don't do anything about it. And maybe that, you know, that's kind of like its own sort of, like, I'm controlling the situation. I'm controlling the situation by not doing anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like I am telling myself I can do this without actually having a ritual, which the rituals used to make me feel so much better. So I don't know why I would stop, except, you know, kind of like maybe a form of self-punishment.
Yeah.
Or maybe I feel like I've already done it enough. Like, oh, I've done enough depression naps in my life that I do not need another one for the rest of my life. Which is probably not true. I could probably use one. Sometimes. Hello.
But yeah, I guess to further elaborate, I used to be a really bubbly, all over the place, over the top person. And I guess I've always had a bit of an issue with social cues. And I became more aware of it as I got a little older, so I would try to warn people or would compensate by over apologizing or over explaining, which in a lot of cases didn't help. It just made things worse.
Right.
And people like me even less, which stressed me out. So it's like, well, I'm letting you know this is the problem I have. So I'm telling you so you know. So if I'm doing it, you can tell me to stop. And then people, like, I don't know. So, like, a lot of things that I would tend to do too, like, obviously 14, it's like, I've run into a couple of bad groups. So, at least the last two or so expansions, the last couple months before a new one launches is usually when the really big oh shit stuff happens. So I end up taking long breaks from the game even though I enjoy playing it. Because I just get stressed and depressed and I don't want to interact with people, even though interacting with people has always been a problem. It's like, I want to interact with people, but I get so stressed out and panicked that people misunderstand, or like there's something that they're not telling me that I'm doing that's bothering them, and it just gets caught in this loop of never-ending anxiety. So then I end up usually sleeping a lot, because it means I don't have to deal with anything or think about anything. And
Yeah.
obviously having the pets is a big help, but I'll admit, I do get lonely a lot, and I don't like being a bother to people.
Do you feel like people are too tactful? Like when you say that, you know, you ask people to tell you if you're missing a social cue or something, and then they just kind of don't?
Yeah, like, I'll tell them, like, if I am doing this, please tell me. And then they don't say anything, they don't say anything. And then it hits a point where they just kind of end up blowing up on me. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, well, we told you, we tried to tell you, but you get so offended. And I'm like, when did you tell me about X, Y, or Z? You didn't tell me. Oh no, we tried. You just didn't listen.
Hmm.
And then I don't know if it's like gaslighting or if I really wasn't getting it, or if it was just them doing it in a very subtle way that I just could not pick up on. And yeah. It's like I could go into descriptions of incidences, but I don't want to obviously trauma dump or put too much personal stuff out there, so. But yeah, I felt it would have been, it was easier to come in here in voice to say it instead of typing it out, because it would be a lot of shit to type.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like I'm a fast typer, but it's a lot. But yes. Hi.
Hello, hello. Thanks for engaging on a, you know, kind of a deeper and, for some people, uncomfortable topic to discuss.
It's like a lot of the things too. It's like I'm usually pretty direct, and then some people be like, "Well, you're not. You're like you're being too direct. Like you're being rude. You're being nasty." And like, I want to address the point. Like, I don't know. It's just always a weird thing.
I feel like culturally there are some places in our country where the society is sort of built around this idea of don't actually say what you think too much. We would rather you were just kind of pleasant. Like if somebody asks you, how are you? We don't want to know the answer. We would just like you to say good, thanks, and you, and just do the canned thing, because that makes people feel more comfortable and relaxed with strangers. But what's kind of weird to me is like if we're talking about, does somebody sound neurospicy to answer the question, how are you, with an honest answer?
Like,
And a lot of people would say yes. I think there's something wrong there. I think the real neurospicy is expecting a canned, comfortable answer every time. And yet that's relatively more common. Like when I hear people talk about this sort of thing, they would like to just imagine you are comfortable and normal and don't want to get into anything too deep.
I honestly like that type of interaction. And I think part of it comes from the fact was my mom was very emotionally dense and very emotionally negligent. So I really did not have a whole lot of that deeper connection. So, like, I do want people to tell me if I am being annoying, or if I'm taking things too far, or if I'm just, like, getting a little too out there. I don't appreciate, like, if I'm doing it on the spot and someone just goes, hey, we don't fucking care. Shut the fuck up. Like that, obviously, like, yeah, no, I'm gonna be upset and angry if you do something like that.
Yeah.
Because the added anxiety of, oh, shit, well, everyone just heard that. And now I'm supposed to still interact and act normal with these people when this just happened.
Yeah. That's a little over tactless.
Yeah. It's like things like, well, if you take me aside afterwards, be like, hey, like you were doing this thing and you told us to let you know, so I'm telling you, you were doing this and this might not be a good thing to do in the future, so I'm letting you know. I'm doing it privately, so it's not making a scene or putting you on the spot type deal. Like, that's acceptable. That's fine.
Yeah.
I might be a little hurt because, like, oh, crap, I did dumb stuff, or I was going too far, or maybe a little embarrassed, but for the most part, it's like, okay, after I've processed the emotion from that, it's like, okay, thank you for telling me. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Hey, Jam. Happy Enshrouded Build Day to you too.
Hello.
Our topic tonight is depression rituals. We were just talking about tact and tactlessness in social interactions. Yeah, I think there's a fine line, right? And I don't know if this is something that is right in me, but I tend to notice this. I tend to categorize this in the trends of East Coast and West Coast. I haven't spent a lot of time in the US in the middle, but I feel like a lot of West Coasters I've spent time around overuse tact. And in that they don't want you to be too communicative about your feelings. They just want surfacey friends. They want everybody to sort of just be chill and not raise a fuss. If they ask you how you are, they don't want to know the answer. But they also don't want to lose a friendship. So if you start to cause like any sort of drama or a fuss, they work really hard to keep even just like basic acquaintances as part of their like keychain of people that they keep around. Whereas on the East Coast, I've noticed like an overuse of tactlessness, where people will be much more abrasive and upfront about what they think of you. I just be like, yo, I don't like it when you do this, or like, wow, you can be a real dick if you're like this or like that. And they're much more honest and open with each other, but to the point of sort of a careless abandon of how your friends might feel about the way you say things. They're not as concerned about maintaining good emotional health in a relationship. So I feel like there's maybe a happy medium somewhere in there where you show that you care about each other, and at the same time you're willing to have those vulnerable and emotional engagements that they keep honesty in a friendship instead of just surfaciness.
Yeah. It's like, I don't like the two-facedness. I don't like the, as you put it, surface friendships. I don't like, it's like, okay, if I'm your friend, you should feel comfortable enough to share anything with me. And know that I will listen, I'm not going to judge you, and I'm not going to make you feel like shit for whatever you're thinking or whatever you need to discuss. And there has to be honesty, because if there's no honesty, where's the trust? Where's the respect? It's just, like, I don't know, maybe I'm a weirdo for thinking, like, yeah, there should be trust, honesty, there should be a level of, like, I can feel comfortable being vulnerable with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can definitely see that leading to a certain sense of depression. Like an idea that if you're not getting either of those, actually, either the vulnerability or the sort of emotional support, then I mean, then what are you getting? You get kind of starved in both directions.
It's like I said, like for me, it's like I'll see other people like joking around and playing in certain ways, yet if I do it, I get looked at like, why are you doing that? And it's like, I'm just trying to play around with you? Like, you're being weird. But I'm like, y'all literally just did this 2 minutes ago. Why is it like it's obviously not something that is a super deep like inside joke or something like at that level, because it's like, yeah, no, if you don't know someone like that, don't do that.
Sure.
But like you see someone going, oh bitch please, or something goofy like that, and then you try to play with that back and go, yeah bitch, and they're like, why are you doing
What'd
that?
you just call me?
It's
Yeah.
like I'm just joking around with you, like I'm trying to play around with you, like I don't know. But so yeah, which that explanation and all that ties into the depression rituals, because bad interactions with a bunch of people get depressed, don't interact as much, or that weird game of like, well, I want the interactions, but I'm afraid to interact. which leads into this depressed cycle and secluding, sleeping a lot, and maybe crying a lot about past friendships that were lost because of stupid shit.
Hmm. I've definitely have found myself living in the past on a number of things, like why didn't this play out this way? Why aren't I closer friends with somebody?
Yeah. It's like, I know one thing for me too. It's like, because I've had a couple people be like, well, you don't, obviously, your family sucks, your mom's a bitch, and some other words that can't be said on Twitch. And you're like, you really don't have anyone. We are your family. We adopt you. It's like, now I've heard that so many times, and I've had those people end up abandoning me anyway.
Uh,
Hearing someone say that I'm adopted, like, no, no, don't say that. They're like, but I want you to feel. I'm like, no, I get it, but this and this and this. So I over-explain and I go into like, yeah, this happened. They said they all said this, and they all ended up leaving me behind. So please don't say that, because like, reasons.
yeah. It's people with good intentions, but maybe don't have the follow through. I've met a lot of
Yeah.
people like that too, where the ideas are very strong and their heart's in the right place, but they just don't really have the time or the patience to interact in that deeper way.
It's like me. I always try to be a person of my word. It's like, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Sometimes I take a lot of time thinking about it, but it's like, I want to be that person for people that they can trust. That if they've got a problem, they can come talk to me. It's like, I might not be able to help you solve your problem, but I'll hear you out. I'll try to help you if I can. I, like, it just sucks because it's like, it'd be nice to have people that would honor that same level back.
Yeah.
Because it always feels like people just take, and I never get anything back. Well, obviously, not with you guys, but
Obviously.
in the
Just
past.
kidding.
Again, the whole over-explaining myself, because, yeah, so.
You're good.
Tonight, specifically though, I am playing Honkai Star Rail. I'm watching Strum, but yeah, I just want to try to make some progression in Honkai tonight.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
This is true. You do. I read it online once, so it must be true.
Must be.
Also, the Chaos Kitties were fighting again.
No.
I was in the shower and I could hear them fighting a lot more vigorously than normal. Came out of the shower and there was a tuft of Kairos fur in the middle of the living room.
Oh.
Thankfully, it doesn't look like there are any injuries, just a little bit of fur pulled, which she doesn't always let me brush her, so I'm assuming it was just loose fur that got pulled.
Still, that sucks. I used to have a cat that was like the neighborhood bully. He was an outdoor cat. And every time I'd go out to like get some us time, he would have like more notches in his ears and stuff like that. And I was like, oh no, you're getting beat up. But then I realized he often had like the fur of other cats in his mouth. And I'm like, oh, maybe you're the asshole.
A possibility. He might have been the fight picker.
Well,
or
yeah, I observed him over time after that, and he absolutely was. He was very much the bully of the neighborhood.
oh, defending his territory?
He'd go to other cats' yards
Hmm.
and pick fights with them there. So I'd love to say, oh, you know, he was just very territorial, but he was a jerk.
Yeah. I know. Well, my kitties are all indoor kitties, so they don't even have the opportunity for that. But I know there's been 1 or 2 times when there was a cat outside that was my old Siamese that passed away. Like, she would go up to the window and she'd sit there and she would just hard stare at the cat that was outside. Wouldn't growl, wouldn't hiss, just sat there staring at them with the ears up, tail whipping.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, baby, that cat's not gonna do nothing. I know both of these kitties are window watchers and sunbeam nappers.
Aw,
In fact, let me see.
sounds so much more pacifist.
Well, the little one is chaos incarnate. Like, Kairos will just be laying there, minding her business, and then little Astrea will go walking by, walk behind her, just kind of look at her, and then pounce. She's going for the back of Kairos's neck.
Oh my.
Like, I can't tell if she's just doing it playfully because she's like, oh, hey, fun time. But Kairos always lets out a meow, like a higher pitched meow, like, I am not about this. Like, they never hiss and spit at each other or that type of stuff. So I don't know. It's like, okay, are you guys actually just trying to play with each other? Or, like,
Right. I mean, as long as nobody's harming the other one.
yeah. Like, I haven't found any blood, but... Like, I've never found blood. But, like, it makes me nervous when I see them playing or doing that. It's like, okay, are you hurting each other? Like, is this okay?
Yeah. Oz, I'm sorry. You're the first one to chat where I realized I don't have the bot working right now.
But here we go. I'll put some pictures in Pride of baby Sunbeam.
You are my dad. You're my dad. Wookie, wookie, wookie.
There's a crackle in Lady Nico's voice.
A crackle? Oh, let me restart Discord.
It might not be you. You sound clear in my ears, so it might be on my end. Nico, talk, and let's have Oz listen to you for...
No, I don't think I'm going to talk at all. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, if you really don't feel like talking...
You doing okay, Nico?
You don't have
No,
to.
you're fine. You're fine. I just wanted to contradict myself.
Okay, Oz says it's gone. Maybe it was on her end.
Yeah, like I've had it before where I crackle, fizz out, or that type of shit. And usually it's because there's an update on Discord, and for whatever reason, every time there's an update, my headset will just start freaking out and not function until I install the update.
Oh. Sounds like a problem.
I have no idea. Like, I always just kind of dealt with it as is.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. Little baby Sunbeam. Like, the Siamese baby especially likes to nap in the sunlight. Bigger one's just like, well, if I'm in it, that's fine. If not, that's fine too.
Mm-hmm. I might need to start making scaffolding, I think.
Oh.
I'm running out of ways to build higher.
Higher. Oh, higher. On a bright note,
Mm-hmm.
I was testing my vocals out, and I can still fucking hit those high notes. Yay! Like, do you know the song Glitter and Be Gay?
I do not.
That is an extremely difficult soprano geared song. Back here. Instead of telling you, I'll just pull it up. And then you can listen to it if you want, or later after stream.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna give you the Kristen Chenoweth version.
One of my faves.
Oh, you'll love this then.
I'm a fan of Chenoweth.
Let's see.
Except in one role.
Mm.
I'm hypercritical of her role as Glinda in Wicked.
Yeah, I was not. I'm like, okay, I get it. She's supposed to be acting like, okay, I'm pretty, I'm popular, and it's like, I think there could have been a different way of portraying the character.
She's just such like a smart and witty New Yorker by like in her heart that
Oh, yeah.
she doesn't sell as a bimbo to me. And I don't think she like lowered herself to playing a bimbo, which, you know, mentally I get. Like I would also want to be perceived as smart and witty if I were smart and witty and in Broadway. But her role was that of a dumb, witless blonde, and I don't think she captured that. You know what I mean?
I don't necessarily think she was supposed to be like dumb, but she was not emotionally aware as a character. She was very superficial and shallow. And
Well,
it's like,
the character is superficial and shallow. I don't think she brought enough of that to the game.
yeah. So that could have been at fault of the person who was directing her on what to do.
Could have been.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a situation like Clara from Doctor Who. It's like, oh, Jay, we can't make up our minds on what to do with you. Oh. Yeah. I wasn't sure where to put it, so I put it in sloth.
Sounds good.
Eesh.
Did I drop a... Oh, it's up there. A tombstone. I died.
It's not delivery. Oh, wait, no, that's not the tombstone.
That's a DiSgiorno.
Yeah, that's DiGiorno. Sorry, there was some streamer. I was watching Hassan Abi's stream earlier, and he was talking about some thing that I don't remember what the hell he was talking about, but there was some specific French word for it, and he messed up and said du jour, so everyone started memeing with, "Oh, DiGiorno,"
Cute.
and some other shit. So yeah. So DiGiorno was on the brain.
I like linguistics. I'll make fun of people, but only in light spirited ways. Unless like you fight me on something, I don't think I'll ever make fun of anybody in any sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Serious way if you mispronounce or misuse a word. Because
Malicious.
we've literally all been there. It's just
Yeah.
it's not fair and it's pedantic to try to attack somebody based on a usage or pronunciation of a word.
I mean, he openly admits like, "Hey, I'm a dumbass. English like is not my first language, and I mess shit up all the time." So he kind of rolls with it too. Like, haha, yeah, I'm an idiot. Hold up.
I really got to make less holes in my house.
But how you gonna let that beautiful sunlight in?
I do not. I'm not an advocate of sunlight with this character. I want a dark and gloomy, depressive place to roost in. That's my MO. Almost did it again.
Yeah, that song is bouncing in my head.
Kit, I couldn't agree more. The cursed day star is evil. Shun it.
But if it weren't for the cursed day star, then we would not have food. And we would die.
We could
Food is
always
good.
we could always do what's the word I'm looking for? Hydroponics.
I mean, we still need the sunlight. It does take care of every other aspect of it, though. Like growing plants and food, keeping animals and all that. But
Kit says I get my vitamin D from a bottle. Hydroponics and grow lights.
it's been proven, though, that having at least some interaction with sunlight does do good for people's mental state.
Yeah, I mean, I joke, but
Yeah.
yeah, vitamin D is critical for human health. Interestingly enough, there was a whole outbreak of rickets in gaming communities. I don't know that this was like a little while ago that I read up on this, but this like old disease that we thought was completely sort of gone from humanity came back with a vengeance because of people just playing too much online and not getting out at all.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I get it.
It's like, it's why I like having a dog. It means I have to legally go outside at least a couple times a day.
Sure.
I mean, aside from the fact, like, yes, companions, snuggles, loves. Picture of sun, sadly, in my book, does not count. I like beaches too much. I would be sad. There you go, Kira. Did you get your butt scratches? Do you want more? You do?
I will say I will get pedantic when it comes to the usage of a word being wrong if somebody is in an educational position, though.
Oh, 100%. If they're educating people, they should know better.
Yeah. I got on a teacher's case for mispronouncing a word once, and she was like, that's just the way I say it. And I was like, you're going to make like a whole clone nation of you saying it this way because you say it this way in class. You know, you can even just defer and say, hey, you know, I just struggle pronouncing this word, so you know you guys can see it, and it's in the book on how to pronounce it, so just use that. But no,
Yeah.
she was very much like
Double down.
yeah,
Can't admit it. I will not accept shame.
and mean about it.
Yeah.
I think she was mean about it because she thought I was like, I don't know, hazing her or something. Like, I'm not attacking your ability to teach, although I also didn't like how she taught. But that's a different, totally different story.
Yeah. Kiwa. Small puppy says hello to everyone.
Hello, Small.
Granted, she's going to be 14 this year, and she's about almost 40 pounds, but
Still
she
small.
is still small. Here we go, good girl. They say hello to you. You know that? You get little blinky puppy stare with twitchy eyebrows.
Amazing. I would give my life for this dog.
She would probably give you all the snuggles for all your food.
She could take all the food. My kids can starve.
No.
Kid says, the fam and I have words we purposely screw up as in jokes. I did make sure they know the true pronunciation, though. Yeah, you got to watch out. I have a cousin who grew up with a speech impediment for a while because my aunts and uncles kept talking like Looney Tunes characters around her when she was a kid. And basically her mispronunciations were like Daffy Duck and Sylvester sort of sounds. I'm like, oh, come on.
Oh,
You guys
no.
appropriated this into her.
Hmm.
It wasn't like she grew up with a lisp and I misunderstood that, you know, maybe it wasn't actually culturally assimilated in. It was assimilated in.
Mm-mm-mm.
But if everybody's in on it, that's fine. For a while, when our littles were addicted to Nightmare Before Christmas, Oz would ask them if they wanted to see, and then did like the name game with the name of the movie. So like Nightmare Nefor Nismus or Pipe Beer Before Pismus. That's a bad one. You get the idea. And the kids started to do it. You know, they caught on. They're young, but you know, they figured out the rule set. And that was really funny and cute.
Aww. As far as language, though, there was one thing I had never understood. Because, like, in my area, there's a lot of Croatian families.
Cool.
And a lot of the families, it's like, well, like, I'd go to school with their kids, like I was 7, 8, and they spoke really broken English, like, and I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, you said you were born here, and you said your parents, like, grew up here. So how is your English so bad? And then I found out the answer to that because I grew up next to the neighbors in the condo.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, what all of these families do is they, from the age of baby until 4 or 5 years old, they don't teach them anything but Croatian.
Yeah.
And they only start teaching them English when it's time for them to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I get it, wanting your kids to know their language and everything, but
Yeah, that can be a backfiring sort of situation. English is a really hard language to pick up later on, and you just want to make sure that they get the soundscape of a language like English earlier than later, because the longer you wait, the harder it is to fabricate those sounds. You start to get a mapping of all the sounds that you can make, and I mean, this is not like a prison that you get. You know, if you turn your 12th birthday hits and suddenly your tongue is locked in so that you couldn't possibly pronounce another language correctly. It doesn't work that way. But
yeah.
it is something to keep in mind that if you want well pronounced, more fluent language, you introduce it earlier and with a dedicated speaker of that language. That would be another thing that I've noticed. I've lived in a lot of communities where kids were raised in a bilingual household. However, in most cases, the parents would flip-flop between the two languages instead of making one a dedicated speaker versus another. And that can become problematic if you have two parents that half the time are speaking Croatian, the other half the time are speaking English, and neither one sticks to just one language. What will probably happen is after the kids start to go to school is they will understand some Croatian, but it'll start to waver and falter, and they'll generally respond back in just English. Yeah, at least that's my experiences from the neighborhoods I grew up around.
Yeah, like my stepdad was Croatian, so all of his friends would always be coming
Will you
to our
stop
house,
kissing
or
everything?
we'd go to their houses. So what I noticed is a lot of them, they pretty much speak, like, when the kids are obviously... Oh. Go ahead. You can say hi.
Hey, Raiders. What's going on, Grouchy? Hi, Everett. Hello and welcome. How are we doing? Also, let me catch up with chat here. Kit says, Oh, you say Kansas instead of Arkansas. Jalapeno. I've heard that one before. Chihuahua for Chihuahua. I've heard that one before too. See, those aren't so weird. Everybody's heard that one. Those ones. Well, some of those. My youngest has a mild tongue tie go undiagnosed. Oh, had mild tongue tie go undiagnosed until last year. She's 11. The TH and R sounds are still really hard to train her tongue to do. It's a work in progress. Still caught her in a pretty decent period of her life. It's usually right around the transition to teenage, where things get much harder for phoneme pronunciation and stuff that you haven't learned when you were younger. Grouchy, how are you doing tonight? How was your stream? What were you streaming? Do a quick shout out.
Bleep bloop.
Hey Dark, how's it going?
Yeah.
Helldivers, how's that? I have a couple friends who are addicted to that game, and I have not. It's just like your victory screen and you laughing. Best clip. I'm just kidding. Most of Grouchy's clips are her being absolutely like major league player, like best in NA at whatever it is she's playing. But that one was just funny.
Yeah.
Everett says, I was watching your Missed One archive. Seems like you had an overall good experience. Honestly, yeah. When I give flack to some older games, I think sometimes what you'll see are people in the peanut gallery very protective of their nostalgia. I'll be like, no, he didn't like it, or he was complaining. I don't like that he was complaining, or they get upset that maybe I had a bad time. But honestly, with every Mist so far, and we're like probably more than halfway through Mist 3 now, I've really been enjoying them. I really like the lore, the artwork and everything. The soundscapes have been great. And where I criticize, one, I'm playing in 2024, but two, I criticize things that I love too. I want everybody to feel like I'm giving it a valid impression. And so far, I'm really enjoying, and I totally understand the nostalgia behind the Mist series. I think it's really well done. And I get why they were able to keep making them, because it's so rich, especially in the puzzle game genre. Usually don't have nearly this kind of lore going on. I mean, who writes novels about their puzzle game? Just the makers of Myst. I need to go through my clips again. You and me both. I got shouted out by Lady Nico last night, and some weird clip came up, and I was like, I have no idea. We weren't talking about anything important, but it was in my clips library.
It's like, I popped it because like I'd done shout outs for a few other people and it hadn't come on, and then it came on for you, and it was like that. Huh?
It was
I
appreciated.
usually have that widget turned off because it's unreliable.
Yeah,
I just happen to have it turned on for some reason. That's what happened.
and that's what happened.
It's why I was confused. No one else had gotten it actually popping a clip.
Man, I'm running through bricks like a
mofo.
thing that runs through bricks. Well, I also made a very large building.
Large.
Yes.
Oh, and I had, and Kit, like your thing about your youngest with the tongue tie. My middle brother, he actually had a thing, and I don't know why this is. My stepdad always spoke English because he never taught me Croatian, and he never taught my brothers Croatian. But my brother always said his S's with a, like he'd always say rhinoceros. Like I don't know where that came from, but he did get over it.
Everett says, even though Myst is my favorite game series of all time, it's definitely fallible. The critique is part of the experience. Thank you. I agree. I appreciate that take on the way I can sometimes rant about a game when I'm playing it. I was very hard on some parts of the King's Quest series and the Monkey Island series, but completely out of love and appreciation because they were also great games in their own right.
Yeah.
I'm currently on Escape from Monkey Island with my dad every Sunday.
Nice.
Gotta say, I'm not a big fan of Escape.
Which one was Escape?
It's the one where fucking hell. You're they're I'm already drawing a blank. So on that island they're on, there's that prosthetic shop.
Oh, yeah. I definitely felt like it was the weakest in the series. 100%.
Yeah, it's like number 4, I think.
It was for the PlayStation originally, right? Or one of the PlayStations.
Maybe. Yeah, I think that makes sense because it was, you know, whether the painted or drawn backgrounds or whatever, and then you have the pixels of the character, polygonal characters on top of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it started getting, it was almost like Final Fantasy VII
That, yeah.
sort of art style.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's not the art style I didn't like. It's a lot of it's the controls. I hated the controls.
Yeah, the controls are bad. I feel like the game, unlike the other Monkey Islands, it really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like smashed what you're supposed to do next into your face in several points of the game. Like you run across 10 different NPCs that all said the same thing. Like, oh, so and so at the tavern is thinking this. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. You've all said this now. You're all telling me go do this thing. It was really heavy-handed, I guess I should say. But the two worst parts for me, one is that they didn't get Elaine, which is just was really sad. That they brought her back after too, so in the next Monkey Island, the voice actress is back. They just lost her for that one PlayStation game, which just felt kind of sucky. And the other part was ads. The other part of it was one of the puzzles relied on outside knowledge that I didn't have, and I just got really mad at that because I've never played a Monkey Island where you sort of needed to know something about the human world.
The human world?
Oh my.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, the human world. Turns out, yeah, I was gravely mistaken about something about the human world that made a certain puzzle unsolvable for me until my audience dropped exactly what I needed to do. And that just felt sucky.
Yes. Oz.
Hello.
There are pictures of Sun Baby in Pride.
Let me see. Oh.
She likes laying in the sunbeam.
Yeah.
Should be doing it from down here.
Chicka-doo-wah. Chicka-doo-wah.
Everett says, also in that particular example, part of the series' own legacy is the Miller brothers' disagreements about canon. Oh no, I didn't know that that was a thing. That's interesting. I bet that has led to some retcon or just confusion among the fans. Kit asks, how far did Nico get in Alien Isolation the other night? I fell asleep. It was a long day for me.
Oh,
I
I think
think-
I'm working on mission 7.
I think I answered both. 'Cause, like, I remember you running around trying to go to the med bay and then get back to that injured crewmate.
Yeah, I
Yes.
got the trauma kit and I'm making my way back.
Downtown.
Making my way downtown.
You weren't going fast.
No, not fast. And faces definitely. Yes, faces definitely passing me by, but they were like synthetic faces.
Yeah, and they
gross.
were not nearly as friendly as you thought you might be able to get them to be.
Yeah, surprise, they're not friendly.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
It's not that they're not friendly, it's just that you don't have the same emotional value they do. Their friendly could be your Angie, you know?
Well, I suppose anything's true.
I'm
Anything's
just
possible.
I'm just gonna tell
Anything
people
is
that.
true.
I'm gonna tell people that when they ask me why I'm mad at them. I'll be like, listen,
Yeah.
this is my happy. My happy and my sad
Happy
face
and
are
my
the
sad
same.
face are the same.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a
It's
line
like-
from True Blood.
It's like, is my red your red? Or is my red your orange?
I had this conversation on stream once. Only a couple people actually understood what I was trying to say. My red that I know and have known all my life
Yeah.
could be your blue.
Exactly. Because someone
Yeah,
might
you're
actually
colorblind.
It
be.
has nothing to do with that. It's just my red that I know. Of
Oh,
red.
like you were brought up in a
Could-
culture that defined colors differently.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's just a word.
Possible. And then it may not even be color blindness. It could just be people's visual
it's my
cues are
perception of
slightly
what-
different.
Right.
So there is some truth to that. If there is a perception difference and somebody actually perceived a color differently than somebody else with their eyes, that would be pretty remarkable because our eyes possess the same structure and the way that we interpret like the incoming data on that is
Mhm.
relatively the same unless there's some sort of neuropathy there. However, the linguistic side of things is true. The way we as a culture have mapped red, we
Mhm.
just picked an arbitrary spot on the color wheel, right?
Yeah.
So the fact of it is, if you go somewhere else and you ask them about red, they might show you a different point on the color wheel, and in some places they absolutely will. The Chinese and Japanese color red skews orange in an American sense.
And then also getting into the real fun shit, people with different like mutations or other fun things. Like I remember, like obviously there's aphantasia. Like people, like anyone familiar with that term?
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the purple flowers boxes that say they're pink?
Let me catch up the chat real quick, or before we get too deep into this, because if we're getting into linguistics, I will ignore chat for a while. Everett says King's Quest was a big childhood series for me too. I don't have those on long-lasting VOD. I'm sorry. I only have like a couple clips, unfortunately. Medbay sucks. I hated it. Says Kit. Robin quit Cyan in the late 1990s and only recognizes Mist 1 Riven and the Book of Atris as canon. Wow. And the music in Mist 3 is different as a result. Interesting. Wait, what are we waiting about? Are you talking about the purple flowers boxes that say that they're pink? All the flowers in pots in the game say pink, but they're purple. In this game? In Enshrouded? There are pink flower pots, but the art in game is an actually a purple flower. Now I'm curious. Have we unlocked flower pots in our merchant?
We have.
The farmer? It's got to be the farmer, right?
Maybe. I think so.
Where would I find, or do we have copper bars or a place to make copper bars?
I thought I saw some copper bars in one of the boxes, but I might be mistaken.
We have copper bars in the smelter. The smelter is here in Lost's pile of
Gotcha.
Amalgamation of
Yeah,
crafting.
his craft smash. I'm gonna have to make one of these. We need flower soil and empty flower pots.
And I just thought of another example of that too, what Jam was saying. Like in Genshin, there's a part where they're like, oh yeah, purple Padisaras. It's a type of flower. And the ones that they have are more of like a bluish violety color. But apparently they're like, oh yes, the true ones were such an intense purple. They were so pretty. But then when you see the actual, or what they originally looked like, they're like a very bright fuchsia purpley pink color. Like not purple at all.
Hmm.
Then of course that's a Chinese-based game, so I don't know if what role that plays in it, but yeah, something that jumped to mind.
Yeah. I also had the experience where I met somebody who is Japanese American who was flustered in the passenger seat of a car that I was in, who yelled, "Go, go, go," to the driver. I forget who was driving. "Go, go, go. The light's blue." And everybody like stopped and froze, right? Like, wait, what? And the answer is two-part. One is that blue skews more green in Japanese. And two, the lights also skew a little bit more bluish than they do greenish in Japan. But only just. And so the go light in her head is just obviously the blue light. They call them blue lights. So she was like, the light's blue, go, go, go. Even though she was in a country where the lights are skew more on the greener side of things. Jam says, so I got in a discussion with commenters on YouTube on DeLindsay's video about flowers, and she suggested that perhaps in Germany, purple is actually pink. Interesting. I wonder about that.
I remember reading somewhere too, like blue is only a recently discovered color, like in a couple last 1,000 years, or I don't remember what I'd read specifically, but it was interesting.
So blue is one of those invisible colors to some cultures. Obviously the eye is perceiving it all the time. All you have to do is look up. But because the sky is that color, and the sky isn't necessarily something that you engage or interact with directly, you don't put your hands up and feel it. When it comes to languages that have color words at a minimum, the color blue is left out for quite some time. Like you can go from minimal complexity to high complexity, and linguistically you'll find the same trends across all human spoken languages. Like, for example, the sound th, like th in English, thick and thin, that sound will not appear in most languages that have limited consonants. If your language only has 10 consonants, that's not going to be one of them ever. Never, not ever once. And similarly, you will never have blue in a language that only has like 5 color words. It will always have red. Red is like boom. And I think part of the reason is evolutionarily, red is like a danger color, right? It's the color of things that could hurt us or poison us. It's also the color of what happens when we have gotten hurt. It is like an alarm color to us. So it is important in most cultures. If you're going to have a color word, you should have red in there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the Germany pink and purple thing. I have studied German. I studied German for 2 years. And I've forgotten almost all of it.
And then there's the fun thing too, like Siamese cats in particular. Their eyes look blue, but they actually hold no pigment. So
I
they
mean, that's
always
kind
have...
of true for all like blue eyes. Technically, blue irises don't have a pigment. Technically, they just absorb all of the color except for blue. Whereas the only eye colors I believe that are actually true colored are brown and amber.
Hmm. And then they throw green into the equation.
Green is basically just blue with a yellow film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The like, and then like if you can tell like if Siamese is mixed because like if their eyes are darker shades, like more greenish colored, like yeah, it's not a pure Siamese type thing.
Hmm. So my only theory about these flowers is the centers of them are pink.
They look like little tiny assholes, don't they, Nico?
No, actually, they kind of look like nipples.
But no, look, they kind of have the little pucker thing.
They're a little bit puckered, yeah. And there's sort of like and that's not like a pinky pink, right? That's kind of like you'd call it like a dusty.
Like an anus pink.
Okay, Oz.
I mean,
Wow.
cat's butthole pink. There we go.
They're
That's a
kind of like a dusty rose color is where I was going to go with this. There's a little bit of gray tone. They're a little bit on the brick side
Mauve.
of pink. Like
Mauvey.
a well-weathered brick, but not like a bright vivid pink. The petals though are undeniably purple. That's a purple. That is a type of purple. Now, as far as like what kind of purple you want to go for, do you want to call it a lavender? Do you want to call it more blue than magenta? Maybe a blurple or whatever. That's up for debate. It's obviously got some white in there because it gets lighter towards the center and darker towards the outer sides. So it pales out to what could be considered like a lavender color in the middle. But there's no pink in that.
E.
I'm not
like, I
crazy,
remember-
right? Those are purple flowers, sphincter flowers. See, if you just asked me to identify the flower, I would say it's a purple flower. Yeah, I would too. I would normally refer to a flower by its petals and not by its center region.
It's like the dominant color overall
Yeah.
is the descriptor in my book. E.
Kit says, I have gray eyes, which means some people argue if they are blue or green. Finally, had the color verified by an ophthalmologist. Oh, so what is it? I also have grayish eyes, but they are blue eyes that sometimes look like they don't have the blue pigmentation depending on weather, or if I'm wearing like a heather gray shirt, it just like sucks the blue out of them. Whatever number of factors can make my eyes just go slate.
Like my youngest brother was the lucky one. Like he got like when he was a baby, his eyes were always like bright sky blue. Like they were never anything but. But then when he got older, they went more like a steely gray color. Still some blue in there, but yeah.
Cool.
And then my one brother got dark, like medium-ish brown eyes, like my mom had. My stepdad had like brown black. And then I'm like my grandma on my mom's side at least, she had green eyes. And my grandpa, like I'm not even sure at this point. I think his could technically classified as hazel. His were lighter, like very distinguished brownish honey brown color ring on the inside, light greenish around the outside. My eyes are just a darker variation of what he had. So I don't know if I qualify as hazel or if it's heterochromia where it's included in the iris, where like it's got two full rings of color. And I know I took a decently good picture because I don't feel like blinding myself right now. So I'm looking for the picture I took so I can post that so y'all can see.
Yeah. So Kit says her eyes are confirmed gray. Nice. That's awesome. Jam has hazel eyes. Everett either has green eyes or is into green-eyed people. It's hard to say. When you say you're a green-eyed person, a green eye person, does that mean you like people with green eyes, or is that you have them?
I will say.
Ah,
that
what's
I
going
have-
on? Why? Why? I'm tabbed out.
What the heck?
Nico. I blame Nico.
Nico's just a jerk.
What are you talking about?
I don't know where you are, but I blame you.
Something went kaboom.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Why are you?
Sure
You're
don't.
way over there. What did you do?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you?
What is the problem?
I was attacked
Exploding arrows.
at
what?
base.
By what?
Uh-huh. By some sort of explosion.
I am so confused.
It-
I'm
I-
nowhere near base. I don't know what
he
you're talking
was-
about.
He was under the bridge, and then just like explosion happened right on his ass.
Something got destroyed here too. I don't know what it was, but it dropped plant fiber.
I am nowhere near base. I have no idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm. We also lost
God.
something with bones in it. Was destroyed. Well, it's fine.
Yeah.
Jam says bright blue eyes are rough, more light sensitive. I can tell you that when I was a kid, the sun used to just make my eyes tear up and cry. Like it was hard for me to go to school in the morning. The sun was just too much. And I
Oh.
could have, guess I could have worn sunglasses, but I don't know. I don't think I owned sunglasses. Kit says green and blue make up the gray. Weather, lighting, clothing will all play into how they look at the moment. All three of my kids inherited the gray, and my half sister and great grandmother also had the gray. Dang.
Gray is pretty.
Gray tribe. That's awesome.
I always was envious of people with gray eyes.
I will say though, like I found that what I find very, very attractive is someone who has like dark, almost jet black hair, olivey, darker skin, and then just bright, light colored eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a dude on my first boat in the Navy, black hair, like almost like black skin. Like he was a little lighter, like somewhere between black and olivey. And then he had the lightest, most intense green eyes. I would just be sitting there and like stare, and he'd be like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, but I love your eyes. They are so beautiful." Ah, there it is.